welcome back to
Hi.
Raised to Obey, episode 26. Jennifer's squeaking already.
Right?
There you go.
It's my
Some
hair.
feedback.
It's my ears. It's my, for those who, I wear hearing aids and I get that.
Yeah, they don't like me. They're always squeaking.
They don't like anybody who comes in.
Every time I get close to her, they're like, please.
That's only on my right side though.
So, anyway, as usual,
Yes.
we started talking and Jennifer said, hit record. So I was like, wait, I gotta get everything ready.
Hold on, I gotta go put some makeup on. I'm joking.
No. I've been up since
4:45.
4:45 this morning, so.
First day back at work from
Exactly.
your
First day back at work from vacation. Yeah.
And so her manager decided to schedule her at 6 o'clock.
At 6 in the morning. But it was all right because I worked 6 hours and I thought I only worked 4. So
That's so funny though. You and
I'm like, it was only 4 hours. And my husband was like, you work 6 to 12? And I was like, yeah, 4 hours. And he was like, do the math. And I was like, oh yeah, I work 6 hours. Right. But that shows you how much fun I have at work, how quickly the time goes by. So anyway, so we were talking about, and I think a good title for this episode already is going to be continuing to break the cycle, because we were basically talking about like how our parents were when we were growing up. And I was telling Jennifer I'm watching the series, and the beginning of the series takes part in the 1950s, 1960s in the United States. And it has to do with like the space program. I was going to say it in German. And
astronauts.
yeah, exactly. I was going to say Weltall. So anyway, the point of why I was telling her about this was because it revolves around like these astronaut families, and the women at this point in time were like, the women were like all gathered together at home while the men were off, flying off into space or trying to land on the moon or whatever. And no matter what happened, like there was all, it's a series. So there's always like, the engine didn't go off, or they can't land on the moon because, or, they don't have any rations, or, there's always like some kind of,
drama.
Yeah, exactly. Drama, right? And so no matter what happens, like, it's always radioed back to Houston, right? So all the families in Houston, they always gather at this one house, and the women are always so calm,
And
composed, like nobody's freaking out or crying hysterically, or, oh my God, what if, they're always like, oh, it's going to be okay. It's going to be okay. And if somebody does start to like crack a little bit, they are immediately taken out of the room and basically told, pull yourself together. What are the other ones going to think? And so we were talking about like our families growing up. And I told Jennifer this scene in this series reminded me so much of my childhood growing up, because what you saw at home was totally different from what was portrayed on the outside. Like you were saying, you'd be in the car and your parents would just be like, bam, 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 bam. And then you'd get out of the car and they'd be like, oh, hi, how you doing? And people would be like, oh, they're such a lovely couple, like the perfect family. I'm thinking of like, June Beaver and, those kind of shows growing up.
And then they say we're getting divorced. So shocking. Why is it like, they were just a perfect couple?
I don't understand.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. So, I think that's something that you and I have both tried to distance ourselves from. I know in my own relationship now, one of the things that my husband and I told ourselves, or told each other when we first got together, was no matter what happens, we won't go to bed upset. Never go to bed mad. We'll talk everything out. And and there have been times where, we've never had a lot of problems, but at the beginning there were things that we both had to accept from each other's past. And there were a couple of times where one of us said, we need to talk about it, but not tonight.
Yeah.
I need to sleep on it, because if I talk about it now, I'm just going to be like, and yeah, you're probably not going to like that. especially me, right? Because I'm the one that's, volcano. I'm not diplomatic, but um, so that was something that for me was very important because I didn't want to be like my parents in any way. And I also, like, even now, if we have a dispute, a slight disagreement or whatever, um, we don't take it outside. It gets handled at home or in the car or whatever before we get out and before we, because I always hated that my mother was always, so I called it being two-faced.
Mm-hmm.
She called it being like a clown. Oh, you have to put your smile on. You have to put your smile on. Like, no, damn it. If I'm mad, I'm gonna be, you're gonna know I'm fucking mad,
Yeah.
I'm not gonna
Yeah.
be like, oh, because I swear, even if I smile, you'll see to my
Yeah.
eyes
Yeah.
that, you
You'll
know
be
what I
like,
mean? I'd be like, yeah, I'm smiling, but
uh-huh.
I have fucking laser beams coming
Yeah,
out my
yeah, yeah, yeah.
eyes, you know what I
That you're just
mean?
like, I don't know, she's smiling, but doesn't look
She don't
right.
look happy.
Yeah. Well, but it'd be like my parents, like I said, we'd be in the car and they'd be bickering about something, and then we'd be invited somewhere, get out, and they're like, ah, hi. Yeah, like, go to whoever's house we were at, like everything's hunky dory, and then they get back in the car and they just
Mm-hmm.
be like, they had just press the pause button because it'd be like,
Right.
and I'm sitting in the back seat like, well, what the fuck? I just thought everything was cool because we
I
were in
know.
there and and they were nice to each other. And then you get
Right.
back in the car and then the shit starts, it's like the pause button got,
Right, right. My favorite was always when we would go. So we went to church on Saturdays, right? I think I mentioned that to you. So we go to church on Saturdays, and I told you we had to drive an hour to go to church, and then church was 2 hours, and then we had an hour drive home.
so you've gone for 4 hours.
Dude, can you imagine those drives when my parents were pissed off at each other? They had a
Mm.
whole fucking hour, dude, to get it all out in the car. And they did. And I'd be like, y'all just fucking spent 2 hours at church. Like, why? You
uh,
know?
yeah.
Explain to me. Like, the only, and I told you, like, it was a doomsday post-apocalyptic church, right? The only thing they preached from the pulpit was hellfire and brimstone, and we're all sinners and we're all going to hell, and you need to get out on your knees and repent. And as soon as we got in the car, like, did y'all even pay attention to what he was saying? Like,
Maybe they.
we had like a sermonette that was like 20 minutes, and then we had the sermon that was like an hour and a half, dude.
Oh my
There was
gosh.
like, a little bit of
Uh,
singing in between, but nothing major. I'm like, did you guys even pay attention to what the pastor, like, he was fucking up there for an hour and a half, dude, sweating his fucking ass off, yelling from the pulpit that we're all going to hell. And yeah, that like went in one ear and out the other, apparently, right? And
huh?
then, as soon as we tried to say something or be like, yeah, but no, no, no. It's do as I say, not as I do, you know?
Yeah. Yeah.
So, a lot like the politicians nowadays. But anyway, don't get me
Oh, did
started
you
on
hear
that one.
that?
Yeah, don't get me started,
No,
dude.
but did you hear
Don't get me started.
Mr. Spahn?
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. Don't get me
Dude,
started.
dude's fucking.
Don't get me
Yeah.
started.
Okay, we
Do
weren't
whatever
talking about politics
do
here,
whatever you
but
want to do.
so one of the things we were talking about when my friend's pool party on Saturday kind of came up too, like this shit that's going on here. But yeah, we won't talk about that. Yeah, that's So I mean, so I've said that like before in the podcast, like what you if you have like a negative mindset, you're only going to see negative or positive, right?
Mm-hmm.
And like,
Right.
so now that we're doing this podcast and talking a lot about, like our generation and like the parenting, like how our parents parented, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
And so, of course, also you pick your algorithm on your social media. And since,
Mm-hmm.
if you like one thing and you get shown
Right.
some more like and I was like, it's crazy now that I see how many adults now, like who are adults in our ages,
Mm-hmm.
went through the same things we went through,
Right.
having narcissistic mothers and like just like I want to say that my parents were strict, or like we say more or less my father just went along, just kind of like how you
Right.
said.
Mm-hmm.
there's this one lady, she got on there, and I was like, damn, I was like, thought like my parents were strict, and and then also these people will be estranged then from their parents. They
Mhm.
do the no contact.
Mhm.
And these parents will never they can't even take accountability for what they did.
Right.
There's no accountability.
Mhm.
Even if you were like, yeah, that's all even if you just say, yeah, I'm sorry because that's all I knew because that's all I was taught, but
Mhm.
there's never any accountability.
Mhm. Just
And
like my
then I
mom.
saw this, was it this morning? It must have been this morning. This lady she came on and she was like, yeah, I was a terrible mother and my kids don't talk to me anymore. Like yeah, I
Wow.
was like, this is the first and lady that I have seen who has actually taken accountability, who has said she understands why her kids don't have no contact with her.
Mhm.
She admitted how she was as a parent. She was narcissistic. It was my way or the highway, this and that. Was always in a bad mood.
Mhm.
But she also was like, yeah, but that's how, I wasn't taught anything other than that either.
Right.
And I was like, yeah, like,
Yeah, at least,
yeah,
I
the
mean,
hat
she
off to
has my
the,
respect
yeah,
that
yeah.
she at least, taking accountability.
And like I was just like, if more parents would, like I said, I never did that. I
Mhm.
never said that.
Yeah.
I'm not like, were we living in the same house?
Yeah, no. That's
But
I told
then, everybody has a different perception of what, but like I was
Yeah, but
like,
I mean, if you like, I know my mom does that too, or did that when I was talking to her. Saying she never did that, she never did that, and then I would ask like my brother or my sister, and they'd be like, "Oh yeah, she
yeah, yeah.
fucking did that," and I'd
Well,
be like, "Then how can the three of us
yeah, yeah.
remember
Mm-hmm.
incorrectly, and only you have the correct memory of what happened?" Like,
Well, isn't
no,
that great though that you have somebody that you can ask? Because some people are like only
Yeah, some
kids,
people
and
are
they're
only
like, what
children, right?
like
Right.
I don't know if my sister was there too or not. And my sister was like, yeah, you did. Like, cause me and my sister and my brother, we'll have our three-way like video chat, like, cause
Mm-hmm.
we all live far away from each other. Well, I lived the first, but whatever. And then we'll say something like about my mom or like how it was, and we would, we all remember correctly. We all like, I
Right.
never did that.
Yeah.
I'm like,
Mm-hmm.
what the fuck? Yeah, you did.
Mm-hmm.
You like, you got so upset if the food wasn't. And this is what I was telling you. Like when we were growing up, we had chores. We had to do the chores.
Right.
If my mother,
Your mother.
my mother would have said, like, if I ask my kids to help me, I'm gonna be like, because I need your help.
Mm-hmm.
I go to work. I have this and that. I have a lot on my plate. It would be super nice if you would be just, do this. It would help me take
Right.
something off my plate,
Mm-hmm.
And it was never like, until I grow up and I was like 15, 16, 17, I realized that when I was doing these things that helped my mom.
Mm-hmm.
But when you're 7 or 8, you're like, what the fuck? Like, this sucks. This is shitty. Like, why do you have kids so we could be your slaves?
Right.
Because you're just like, you feel like you're doing all the chores.
Right.
Because between me, my brother, and my sister, I felt like my mom wasn't doing shit.
Mm-hmm.
But she was working.
Right.
She was a mother with 3 kids and had a full-time job.
Mm-hmm.
And I know a lot of people do that these days.
Right.
And my father was also working a full-time job. If it would have been like the ladder of saying, hey, can you do these chores because it helps me,
Mm-hmm.
instead of, yeah, because I said so, because that's
Mm-hmm.
what you do, because it's fucking, you gotta earn your right around here, and
Right.
fucking put a roof over your head. And
Mm-hmm.
that was always like the like the one thing that, I raised you, I put food in your mouth, and you're just like, but, and like
Yeah.
I
And
also
put
said,
food in
isn't
your
that what
mouth,
you
clothes
do?
on your back, a roof over your head. Yeah.
But isn't that what you sign up for when you decide, when you find out you're pregnant, I'm pregnant.
Right.
Oh, we're gonna have a baby. At that point, in that fucking moment, you decide you're going to carry this baby out and have a
Mm-hmm.
baby, then that's what you do.
Right.
You have to. I mean, that's like the fucking necessity, or the bare minimum of being a parent, isn't it?
Mm-hmm. Right.
You provide food, you have a roof over your head, a
Mm-hmm.
place to sleep, and hopefully love. But a lot of people don't get that either.
Mm-hmm.
They have like a
Mm-hmm.
really shitty, like, home life. They don't
Yeah.
get like,
Or they have a twisted sense of what love is, you know.
yeah. But that's just I mean, um I mean, I get it, you know, like now, but back then I didn't. But if she would have just sat down and said that, you know, I need your help.
Mm-hmm.
You think my mom would have ever said that she needed help?
No,
And that's,
probably not.
of course, it took me forever to
I was
say,
gonna say it took me a long time to learn to say,
"Excuse
yeah,
me,
I need some help, you
could you help
know,
me, please?"
because I'm not even now. Every once in a while, I will catch myself. Like a good example is last week we came home. We're unloading the motorcycles. Um, and we unloaded the motorcycles off the trailer, right? And then we were unloading the motorcycles themselves. And my husband says, just leave the stuff there, I'll carry it in. What does Ivan do? Oh, I try to load myself up with as much shit as I can. And he's like, do you need help? Nope. And then my back said, nah, suck. No, maybe you do need help. Remember we just had back surgery like how many months ago has it been now? Right? Was it March? And I stopped myself and I was like, what the fuck am I trying to carry everything like a fucking donkey? Like what am I trying to prove and to who?
Mm-hmm.
You know? Like why?
More like yourself,
You
like I
know?
can get all these bags in
Exactly,
one
because
load.
I used to be, let's go grocery shopping and I'll bring everything in
I
one
ain't. There's no
load.
two
Yeah,
rounds, though. There's
exactly.
no
I
two
ain't going back
trips.
a second time.
Nope.
And now I'm like, why?
Yeah.
I mean, I just like, didn't I learn anything from my back surgery? I mean, I'm
Yeah.
not saying
Yeah.
that's the reason I had back surgery. There was another reason for it, but still,
Yeah.
I mean, it had to do with lifting heavy stuff,
Yeah. Yeah. Uh-huh.
and yeah, and I was like, okay, I just like stopped. I put everything down. And then once my back calmed down, because it took a second, I picked up like two things. And I
Mm-hmm.
was like, I'll come back for the rest. And he's like, I told you I'm going to carry it in, just leave it. And I was like, why, who are you trying to prove what to?
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
it's
Yeah.
still, it's this mentality that I still get trapped in sometimes of I have to do everything and I got to do it all by myself,
Mm-hmm.
because that was also, you know, part of how we were raised. You didn't ask for help,
Yeah, but wasn't that
you
also
know?
like in your first marriage, like
Yeah.
that motherfucker
Well,
didn't lift
yeah, I
it,
mean
you
that
know?
too, but yeah, they just yeah, but yeah, we already covered why I married that narcissistic asshole.
Yeah, but
you
it's
know,
also I'm pretty sure that also plays a role in
yeah,
like you
definitely.
know of
A dude that did, I mean, now that you bring that up, I'll give you a quick example. um,
squirrel. No, I'm just
yeah,
joking.
exactly.
No.
Squirrel. Um, was it your one friend laughs and says that now,
Yeah,
right?
yeah, yeah,
Squirrel. It's for
yeah.
you. No, so when I first came together with my husband, I don't know how long we had been together. And we were both working full time at the time. He still works full time, I don't. But we were both working full time at the time. I was self employed, and it was a Sunday, I think, or something, and we were home, and that was like my day to clean because I worked the rest of the week, right? Like Monday through Saturday, I worked. And I was like, oh, I need to clean whatever, whatever, and he was like, oh, I'll help you. Tell me what to do. And I was like, what? And he was like, yeah, I'll help you clean the apartment. I mean, the part of the house that we lived in there. And I was like, what? He was like, I will help you clean the house.
Like
Like, do you want the bathroom or do you want the living
oh,
room?
yeah,
Yeah, that's
yeah.
what he finally said. And I was like, uh, I'll take the bathroom because, nobody can clean the bathroom like you can clean the bathroom, right? I was like, I'll take the bathroom. So, and he did. He took like a bucket with the cloth or whatever and some water, and he went in the living room and dusted and he vacuumed and and I cleaned the bathroom and then I mean the kitchen is at that time I was like cooking daily, so it was like always clean, right? Um, and now we don't cook that often, so the kitchen's always clean. But anyway, um it's the miracle of the air fryer, right? You don't have to
Yes.
clean your kitchen like but anyway, um so that when and I was just like the only word I can think of is flabbergasted.
Yeah, yeah.
You know what I mean? Because I did not have that from my ex-husband. You know,
Mm-hmm.
if I would have asked my ex-husband to help me clean something, yeah,
Yeah.
that would not have gone over well.
Yeah.
First of all, it probably would have been like a bitch session. You know, the fuck are you crazy? What do you think I am? Blah 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 blah. And so now we've been together almost 12 years. We've been married. It'll be 10 years in November. My husband and I, and now I have no problem saying, "Babe, can you clean whatever?" You
Mm-hmm.
know,
Mm-hmm.
and he'd be like, "Yeah, sure. You know, just tell me what to do." If he's not sure, or whatever, just tell me what to do. The only thing that he won't do is laundry, and I'm all right with that. I mean, he will if I tell him, like, can you do laundry? But I have to, like, give him, like, step by step instructions, which you know how my patience is, right? So I'd be like,
Mm.
get out of the way, I'll do it myself. But if it came down to that, he would do it. He didn't have a problem with it. He's like, and he said one time, he said, and it just made so much. I was just like, it made so much sense. He was like, I live here too, and I make a mess too.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
why shouldn't I be
Exactly.
able to clean
Yeah.
it up?
Yep. Exactly.
You know?
That's like when you're like, um, when you're in, if you're still married with somebody, and mostly it would be like, so the wife's gonna ask the husband, can you babysit the kids or
Mm-hmm.
watch the kids? Like,
Right.
why is he babysitting his own kids?
Right.
That's your fucking kid too, but also like, um, you live here too.
Mm-hmm.
You can also, you don't, live, and like it's like what Uva said, but like, so if you get together with somebody like before you get married,
Mm-hmm.
and this person also lived on their own before you got married, I mean, sometimes, when you're younger, you get together. Maybe you didn't even live on your own, and the first apartment you got was together. But doesn't matter,
Mm-hmm.
If
Right.
you're going from your parents' house to an apartment with somebody, it might not work, because
Mm-hmm.
mom was there and did everything.
Right.
But if you meet somebody and they lived alone, and then you get together,
Mm-hmm.
what the fuck did this motherfucker do before you moved? Did he not do his laundry? Did he fucking not clean
Right.
his bathroom? Did he
Yeah.
just let the dirty dishes pile up in the
Right.
sink?
Yeah.
Like,
He ordered into delivery every night or
I
something.
mean, some people do that.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
you still have to put that shit
You
in the
still have to throw the
garbage.
trash away. Exactly.
You still have a
Yeah.
bathroom to clean. You know what I
Mm-hmm.
mean?
Yeah. Yeah.
Like, what did you
Definitely.
do before? And now we're living together. What, like, all of a sudden, what? I'm your maid?
Right.
No, like,
Yeah. I'm the
like,
mom.
and that's like, I'm all for, like, I don't really like doing the bathroom, and they'll be like, oh yeah, I don't mind the bathroom. I'm all for, like, somebody might do something better than the other, like laundry, ironing, bathroom, vacuuming, dishes, whatever,
Mm-hmm.
cleaning the windows every 3 months, just things like, but like, it
3 months, damn, twice a year.
if that, but
I have one of those vacuum window
yeah.
things, so I get twice a year in, man.
But yeah, like, I'm dividing the chores, but
Yeah.
like,
I mean, at least sharing them. Like, I know one thing my husband has always done, and the first time he did this, like, freaked me out. So I'm the one that cooks most of the time. Not always, but most of the time. And in the beginning, when I started cooking, because we didn't really have a kitchen when we first moved in together, so we kind of had to piece a kitchen together. When we got a kitchen, then I started cooking, and the first time I made dinner, I don't even remember what I made, but um, I made dinner. We ate dinner, and when we were done, he picked up the plates and walked to the kitchen, and I was like, "Oh, that's nice." He carried the plates to the kitchen, right? And so I walk into the kitchen, and he's doing the dishes, and I was like, "What are you doing?" And he was like, I'm cleaning up. And I was like, okay. And he goes, well, yeah, you cooked. So why shouldn't I clean up the kitchen when you're done? And I was like, okay. And then I thought, oh, it's a fluke, right? Yeah, it won't happen again.
yeah.
How long have we been together? And it's still the same thing. Like almost every time I cook, and even sometimes when I don't cook, like it's summertime, it's warm, we grill a
Yeah.
lot, right?
Mm-hmm.
He'll grill and he'll still pick up the plates and walk into the kitchen, you know? I
Mm-hmm.
mean, that, when you grill, then it's not really a whole lot. You just throw the plates in the dishwasher, but still, it's
Yeah.
not like your
Yeah.
pots and pans and stuff to clean, right? Like when I cook. But still, I mean, to me, that it maybe seems like something very minuscule, But having had a relationship like I did with my
Yeah.
ex, to
Mm-hmm.
me, that is something that every day, every time it happens, it still means a lot to me, you know?
Yeah, that's awesome.
Because it shows me that for him, it's not just like, um, what's the word I'm looking for? Selbstverständlich.
Yeah, it's not. Uh-huh.
What's that word in English?
I want to say obvious, but that's not the word either.
No.
It's not taken for granted.
Yeah, maybe that. Yeah. Like he doesn't it's not expected, you know. Maybe
Selbstverständlich is
that's
actually expected.
yeah,
Like, yeah,
maybe
yeah,
that's the
yeah.
right word,
Uh-huh.
you know. That is
Well,
it's not just expected. And um I think too, you know, like you said, like he doesn't take me for granted and be like, oh, she's gonna cook something anyways. Like I told you, like last night, you know, we were sitting on the couch and he was like, just to give you a little bit of background for those of you that don't know about German culture, it is very typical for Germans in the evening to eat um,
cold cuts.
cold cuts and bread, right? And so,
It's like a charcuterie board
exactly with bread
and bread.
instead
Yeah.
of crackers
Well,
or,
we
you
do
know,
crackers too, but
yeah,
yeah, it's like the pickles and just little like I would say Häppchens, but that's German too.
yeah, little things like cold cuts and cheese and,
But we have different cheese, you know, like the block cheese, the hard cheese, where you have to cut
right,
it with a knife. But yeah,
mm-hmm,
yeah,
yeah,
it's like like I was
yeah.
just like,
It's
if
kind of like a charcuterie board,
yeah,
like you said, but with bread
bread,
and yeah,
butter.
butter, and in my husband's case, Nutella. But anyway, and so last night he was like, "Oh, we're just gonna eat bread for dinner," and I was like, "No, I had planned on putting fish in the air fryer," and he was like, "Oh, okay, cool." But you know, it's not like my ex would have been like, um, you
Yeah.
make anything for dinner today? You know, like, do I need to go out or, you know, like what? You know, and my husband now is not like that. He's just like, you know, he didn't, you know, what? Sometimes he'll ask, were you planning on something for dinner? And I'd be like, oh, yeah, I was going to make blah, blah, blah. Or, you know, I took something out, so we'll
Mm-hmm.
grill or whatever, you know. But if not, you know, like last night, he'll be like, you know, oh, so are we eating bread for dinner tonight? You know, like, and with no malintention
Yeah, yeah,
in his
uh-huh.
words or behind his words. You know what I mean? It's
Mm-hmm.
like if I just say, yeah, you know what, I didn't take anything out, didn't, you know, think about it or whatever, or I forgot, you know.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so yeah, we have to
Wouldn't be
eat.
like my mom and just
Yeah, it would
totally
be
be in a
like, what do you
bad
mean you
mood.
forgot? You know, he'd be like, all right, cool. You know, he'd be like, you want to eat cold or you want to eat some scrambled eggs or, you know, sometimes I'll be like, babe, I didn't take anything out. Or we ate scrambled eggs or eggs over easy for dinner. And he'd be like, yeah, that's cool. You know,
You even live in a town where you takeout isn't really an option, huh?
exactly. Yeah. Califorando Hill. They'd be like, we don't deliver to your
You have a
town.
doner log?
Yeah, we do.
Huh?
But they don't deliver.
Yeah, but you could,
But
yeah,
yeah, you
you
can
could pick it
drive.
up, but
Yeah.
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 Here's the last time I ate a doner. I was thinking about eating one, but I have to be in the mood.
We
I don't
had,
know.
I think we had Dona. Oh gosh, it's been a while.
I like those,
It's been a while since
those,
we normally get like a donatella because it's
oh
the meat
yeah.
with the salad and
Yeah,
then the yogurt
the
dressing.
rice?
You can get it with rice, you
Oh,
can
you
get it
get
with
fries.
fries or, you know,
I usually get
but
rice though.
yeah, I
The
just like the meat
healthier
in this. I
option.
just like the meat in the salad.
Yeah.
I'd be like, whoa.
Also,
Yeah,
and even like the
sorry.
doner is like it's like a
It's like a gyro, but it's Turkish.
no, it's from Turkey, yeah.
Yeah,
But
but
they
it's
Germanized it, and you have
yeah,
this
they
like
germ
pita
totally did.
bread, and it's stuffed with meat. Of course, it's like lamb meat, and because the Turkish don't eat
Or
pork,
chicken.
chicken,
Most
lamb,
of the
beef,
time it's chicken. Sometimes it's beef.
and some lamb, and then it's like shaved. They use a shaver, and then it's like in this bread, and it has like garlic sauce, tomatoes, and like kraut, like
Not sauerkraut.
cabbage,
Cabbage. There you
a
go.
cabbage, but
White
like
cabbage, red cabbage.
cabbage.
I
Yeah,
like that.
it's not sauerkraut though, but it you know. But anyways, yeah, that is we're over here. I'm making myself hungry
I
now.
know. I'm like, damn. Good thing I
Talking
ate
about
before you came.
talking about food, I did too, but I don't know. I'm hungry.
Yeah.
Too bad we can't take off. You ready to? We want to go to eat, girl. When is Uva gonna get home? We can all go to eat to
There
dinner.
you go.
Isn't there like a restaurant around here that you said's good?
Yeah, but they're not open on Mondays.
Oh, fuck that.
Yeah,
I hate that.
I know.
Like, one of the Chinese restaurants, like takeout, like fast, like
Oh my God, I
where
have
it,
Chinese takeout. I miss
oh,
that.
yum. And I was like, yeah, it's Monday, la la la. No, I think they were closed on Tuesdays. And like because the restaurants here in Germany will also take like a rest day.
Right.
And it might be Monday or Tuesday.
Some of them do Thursdays. I'm like, what the fuck is that? But anyway.
Some of them do Saturdays. One of the Dönerladen in food. But anyways, yeah, we're going off track here. We're talking about food. We're all hungry. Sorry. To make all those people, like the people
All the
are,
people that are listening to the podcast, if you're not hungry yet, then
they're all like, oh,
I know,
those
they're
who
like,
live
oh,
in
wait, what?
America, they're
I know,
like,
they're like, what's a donut?
they're gonna look
You
that up.
Google that.
And then you're gonna wish you're gonna wish you could have one because those are good, dude. I could eat one though. Let's go get a tuna patella.
There you go.
Okay. Anyways, yeah, dude. So what we were talking about, like what you said you wanted to like take the episode of like breaking the cycle, like part 2.
Right.
Like um I'm I know my oldest daughter, she always says, like she doesn't have any like recollection or really memories, but like I know at the beginning, like when she was first born, that I was like my mom at the beginning. Like I just remember that one. I think I even said that just like one day, and I smacked her, and I, like not smacked her, but like spanked her in the butt or something. And then remember like, and I was just like, what the fuck am I doing?
Right.
Because I always said I don't want to be like you. I'll never be like you, and I was exactly like her.
Right.
And it was that moment that I was like, I'm not doing this shit anymore. It's like the
Right.
conscious thought of breaking the cycle. I was like, I don't want to reprimand my kid by hurting them, by spanking them, by them being scared of me. Can you imagine sometimes, when you're sitting there and somebody like does something, and you out of the corner of your eye or something, and you kind of flinch because you were like so used to, and I was like, I don't want my kid to flinch when I might move my arm just away, and you have no intention of smacking them whatsoever, but they flinch. Did that fucking, that was like my eyes were wide open. You know what I
Right.
mean? Like that's I don't want my kid to be scared of me. That's just like my kid should not live in fear of me.
Right.
My kid should be in no, you know what I mean? Like, my kid should not. Yeah,
Yeah, I know. I mean, yeah, for me it was always really important that my son knew that, and that he still knows that he can talk to me about anything and everything, um regardless of how bad he think it may be, or whatever. Because I know there were times when I was growing up, I wished I could have talked to my mom. um and dude, there was no way, just because I was like, as soon as I open my mouth, I know
You're
there's
gonna
gonna be a
get punished.
backhand, or I'm gonna be punished in some way.
Like my
or,
mom used to say that too. Like, you can come to me, and then you think, yeah,
Mine
but
never said that.
if I open my mouth, I didn't feel like I said anything. First of all, yeah, okay, you're just gonna get it, I don't know, smacked, but you're gonna get punished. You're gonna be like house arrest.
I mean, I think I mentioned this story already on the podcast about when I was really young and a cat bit me in the hand. A fucking wild cat bit me in the hand. It could have had rabies. And I was scared to tell my mom.
That's something that,
You know what I mean?
yeah.
Like, this could have been like, I mean, luckily it turned out to be nothing,
Yeah.
But it could have been something really fucking serious.
Yeah.
And she didn't know because I was fucking afraid to tell her.
That's something I read a quote or something, that I don't want my kids to be like, oh no, I can't tell my mom, in fear, and saying, oh no, I need to tell my mom. Like, that they can come to me with anything.
Right.
And I'm not going to judge them, in that moment. They're going to be able to come to me and say, if it was something like really bad, I don't know, they stole, I mean, there's some, even then, like I said to my daughter's teacher too, I was like, how many ever times you call me into this office and tell me something about my daughter that's bad, I will always side with my daughter. my kids, and I always feel like kids need to know that there's somebody who's gonna have their back.
Right.
And I had that with my dad. That's why I was like, my dad showed me, like, I'm gonna say his loyalty, but like he was like, I got your back.
Right.
I trust you. I believe you. I got your back. And I think every kid needs to have that.
Right.
Like, I'm not gonna be a parent to be like, oh my God, my daughter could never.
Right.
She could
Right.
never steal.
Yeah.
What? She would never say that. I'm not like that. I know my daughter. I know she's gonna say some shit, and I know she could steal. I know she could do anything. But I'm gonna have her back at that moment.
Right.
When we get home, we're gonna have a conversation.
Right.
And we're gonna sit down, we're gonna talk about this. There might be consequences, to your actions.
Right.
If that's gonna be, I don't know, like, also there's a negative reinforcement, but there always has to be consequences
definitely.
to actions that aren't good. But it's just because I've experienced that too, of teachers being mean to you for no fucking reason at all.
Right.
Just being, because you decided to.
You.
Well, yeah, or because you decided to ask a question, because you decided to not, be like, dude, no, whatever you're saying isn't right, whatever, I'm the teacher.
Not to question them or.
Well, that doesn't make it right what you're saying, and you're a teacher or not, you know what I mean? What you're saying is bullshit.
Right.
And if you try to contradict, no, but go to say go against,
Yeah,
and
you're
like,
questioning them.
how could a 15-year-old know more than me,
Right.
like, ego totally in the way there. Like, in my, my daughter would say that, this teacher just doesn't like me, and I'm like, dude, I get it. I fucking totally believe you, because I had that experience. I had that. Teachers will have favorites,
right?
And if they say that they don't, they fucking lying, because you see it. You see it in the classroom daily,
right?
And that's like also something that should not be allowed, but how they can control that in school, the teachers, like, having favorites or whatever, but,
right.
I know that at times I was my teacher's favorite.
Okay.
But it was, it's not because I kissed ass and gave him apples every day or something, you know what I mean? It was because I was generally interested I had in the 9th grade, the first 2 periods I had, it was like science and biology or something. So it was like these 2 teachers together. It was just so interesting because they made it interesting.
Right.
And I really, honestly, I would go to school in the 9th grade for 2 periods and then I'd check out, because that was my 2 favorite classes.
Okay.
Because they made me want to come to their class, because it was interesting the way that they did the way that they taught the class.
Right.
Isn't that like also, I feel, a teacher's job? You go to school, you actually should know and learn, like, isn't it the teacher's job to make the class or the lesson or whatever interesting enough that the kids want to, come back? The kids are interested in it, even if it's math and you're like, fuck this shit.
Yeah.
But they teach it in such a way where you're just like, okay, you know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah.
Or you just have a teacher that sits up there and, okay, just like your book, open your books, and or you have a teacher up there like, all right, class, today, you know what I mean? Like, be enthusiastic about it.
Right.
Like, yeah. Anyways,
that makes a big difference. I understand what you're saying. Like, if you have a teacher that's like totally boring or is just an ass or whatever, I know when I was in high school, I took one of the classes we had to take was geometry, and my geometry teacher, he was the only one that taught geometry. Sorry.
You're already yawning because it was boring as fuck?
It was so boring. Now, he was
or was it good?
He was a fucking alcoholic, dude.
Oh.
And he fucking smelled like booze all the time. And he'd like get up in your face and be like, and be like, dude, I don't fucking understand, first of all. Like, get away.
Like, wait,
I
hold
need
on.
some damn space.
You know? That's so funny, dude, to give him
I fucking hated that class. And everybody knew he was a fucking alcoholic. We had some kind of nickname for him, and I don't even remember what
Alki.
fucking nickname. No, it wasn't Alki. I don't even remember the nickname we had for him. But
Mm. I had
and
like
everybody knew, and the school board knew, like all the other teachers, and nobody fucking did anything about it, you know? And it was just like, oh my God. Like, can this fucking 45 minutes go by any fucking slower? I don't even know how I managed to pass that class, honestly. I have no fucking idea how I passed it. I think that was like one of the classes I passed with like a C. I was just like,
got the passing grade though, right?
did I pass? Fucking let me out of this class. Like, I don't ever want to fucking take another class with this dude again.
Dude, talking about nicknames though, we have a friend named Phil, and he wasn't like we used to call him Philcoholic.
Okay.
Like alcoholic and
Right.
Philcoholic. Just talking about nicknames. So it's just like it's so funny, but yeah. I can't say I ever had a teacher who smelled like alcohol before, but I know I had.
Dude, he was always tanked, man.
You know,
no
though.
wonder why I don't understand any of this fucking shit,
Even back in the day, though, and now I know why, but back in the day you didn't know. Like when the teachers wheeled out the TV and you just popped in and you know because they were hungover or something, that's what they just like, or something. I don't know, they were tired as fuck and they didn't have a lesson for the day or something. So they reeled out when that thing came out on the TV on the cart thing, the wheels, and you were like, yeah, this is going to be an awesome.
Be like, oh, we can take a nap.
Yeah. Like one
You
of
know what
those.
I hated was the teachers that I was just going off on another tangent, but the teachers that used these
The beamer?
no, where they would write on it and you would see it would like project on the wall.
Projector.
Yeah. I
Projector?
fucking hated that shit, man. I was like, God damn, she's gonna sit up there and fucking the whole time.
But that's what so that's what I'm
and it was boring, then
exactly.
you'd be
like you have teachers who are just doing like I want to say the bare minimum. They're like, oh, I made a lesson, and then like, or you have the teachers.
I like the teachers. It was like when you would have like a substitute teacher. So like they would give you like a handout, and they were like they just wanted you to do your little handout and be quiet for the 45 minutes.
Or it reminds me of that one skit about that guy is a substitute teacher and he comes in and he's talking about the names. He's like, D-Nice.
Oh yeah.
It's Pia, whatever. Oh my gosh, that's so funny.
That is
Jaquana, or what's he say? Like Chico, Ron. I the first time I ever saw that skit, I was almost peeing my pants because it's just so funny.
So funny.
Balake, and I'm like, what the fuck? And he's like, oh my gosh, he was just funny. Like. That's the funny. And if anybody knows what I'm talking about, dude, that is so funny. Substitute teacher, though, yeah. Substitute teachers were awesome because you try to fuck with them sometimes because they're a substitute teacher, and he's like,
yep. Yeah. No. Be like, I need to go to the restroom. You need a pass. Well, Mrs. So-and-so never made us take a pass. Then you get caught wandering the halls. Where's your pass? The teacher didn't give me one. We have a substitute teacher.
Oh man, how many times did I do that? Yeah. Yeah. That's crazy. Yeah. Talking like but what weren't we talking about where we were our first jobs?
We were talking about before we started the podcast.
Yeah. I was like my first job I worked at Dairy Queen. And we was like, what was that back in the day? The minimum wage. Right. People, the minimum wage when I was 15 in 1994 or 5, whatever.
Well, even before that.
$3.25 is what I got an hour.
I graduated in high school in 1990, and it was $3.25 before that.
Yeah, well, it
was the same minimum wage though for a long time. Yeah,
that's what I got an hour. I started working when I was 15 at Dairy Queen. Best job ever. Mm-hmm. Even though I got $3.25 an hour,
Well, yeah, I mean, but I mean, like you said too, you said you would put like $5 in your gas in your car, and it would like fill up the tank. I mean, everything was
My Escort, Ford Escort, dude.
so
Like that's
much more
my first,
cheaper back
yeah.
then, you know.
Driving around, like so when I worked at the Dairy Queen, and I saved 2 paychecks up so I could get my license. So I went to summer school the year before I turned 16, and my birthday's in January.
Right.
So I went to summer school that summer before I turned 16. And so when the day I turned 16, I was in that car and I was driving because I had my license. It was burning a hole in my pocket, if you will. Like I was ready to drive. I remember I just like saved up 2 of my paychecks to pay for my driver's license.
Right.
Yeah. And you put $5 in that tank and you drove around for a whole week. Can you imagine? What did you tell me now?
I can't even
$9 and what? Some 58 cents?
$9.42
A liter.
A gallon.
Sorry, a gallon. Here
Yeah.
we got in Germany right now.
For
Can
regular.
you fuck it? It's just like
Yeah, that's what I said. I would put like $5 in my motorcycle. My motorcycle would laugh at me, and it gets so much better fuel mileage than a car does, you know, because of the weight
you
distribution.
put $5 in your gas tank and you're going to like the next gas tank.
I know my motorcycle would be like, are we only driving to the next gas station down the road or what? You know, like yeah. Anyway,
like
yeah.
like but that was like the best feeling, like getting like having my own money in my pocket.
Right.
You know, I was like even though even my your mom, my mom, yeah, your mom, but my mom, you should say that, like also trying to tell me then what I should do with my money. I'm like, this is my money. Like, the first paycheck, like even my oldest daughter, when she got her job and her first paycheck, I don't know what it was. It was like, if it was 500 something euro because of the, the mini job, whatever. Or I can't remember. And she was like, I'm going to buy a new phone. And she took every cent that she had gotten and bought a new phone. And I was like, that's your money.
Right.
I mean, of course, you want them to be like, oh, maybe you should, I would be like, make a suggestion. Maybe if that's what you want to do. But if that's you, she's like, nope, I'm going to buy a new phone. We went to Media Mark and she spent that whole check on a phone. Cool.
Yeah.
She had that phone for a while though. But like, that's just like that feeling of making your own money and being able to like spend it how you want it.
Right.
But even I did do my chores. I did also get an allowance. I got like what, $20 a month or a week. I don't even remember anymore what I got a month.
We got paid minimum wage.
And like sometimes you'd save it. You'd be like, because you were saving up for something because you wanted something,
right?
Or you just take that $20 and fucking blow it on, I don't even know, cigarettes. Back in the day before I started smoking though, like we didn't spend it on that. But sometimes you'd even just want to go and blow it on just candy and go to the store and buy 5 bags of candy or something. You didn't care.
Yeah.
It was like, this is what I'm doing with my money. Yeah. That's like being able to like be aware of going down that same path, being aware of like, I don't want to be like my mom. And so many people say, I don't want to be like my parents. I don't want to be like my parents. And then they are.
Right.
And they don't realize it. And I'm just so thankful that I was like able to have that awareness and stop, be like, no, I'm not gonna. I mean, my youngest daughter did, like, by the time she was born, I was, they're 6 years apart, my oldest and my youngest. So like I think that's different than 2 or 3 years. That was
right.
6 years. And this was even before she was born, where I had like that awareness. Like I don't, I think she was 4. And when I was where I was like stopped and I was like, what am I doing? Why am I doing this? Why am I hitting my daughter?
Right.
Why? Like it's also I do understand sometimes though that, being a mother can be overwhelming
Mm-hmm.
because you do everything. You
Right.
do, you do. And then, being the where I, even, where and how I was brought up, and asking for help.
Mm-hmm.
Fuck no, I do everything.
Right.
And also then being able to realize that you can't do everything. You
Mm-hmm.
do need help.
Right.
That was never an issue with my ex-husband. He did help around the house when he wasn't, working, because he had, his own business. So he would leave the
Right.
house at 6 o'clock in the morning, come back at 6 o'clock at night. Like
Mm-hmm.
that was, and I also understood that he, you know, had a job where he was gone all day,
Right.
but still, like he would, if he still had the energy, he'd like empty the dishwasher or something like that. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
I did say that though. I'm like, if I'm at home, I'm the stay at home mom. I get it. I'm gonna do all of this.
Right.
But when you have one kid, it's easier than when you have two kids.
Mm-hmm.
When you have
Mm-hmm.
3, 4, 5 kids at home.
Right.
I just had the like they were 6 years apart. So one of them was in kindergarten for like half of the day,
Mm-hmm.
and then
Right.
my little one was born. So I
Mm-hmm.
was actually able. So my oldest daughter was in kindergarten for like half of the day, and I
Mm-hmm.
had that time with my youngest daughter,
Right.
and she went to school, and then but
Mm-hmm.
like it um. When she got older, there's just sometimes it was very overwhelming
Mm-hmm.
because you were doing like you have that feeling that you're doing everything, but then you sit down and you're like, but I am doing everything.
Right.
I'm making the doctor's appointments. I'm driving them there. You're taking them to kindergarten. You're picking them up. You're cleaning the
Mm-hmm.
house, and that was for me okay. I was like, I'll do that. I'm at home, but then I had to start going to work,
Right.
and I know I was only working a half a day.
Yeah. Yeah, but still that was half a day that you
But then we
missed
got a
to do
dog,
all
so
the
I had
other
to walk
day.
the dog before we went to work. I had to get the kids to the like it was like it was like I had, and I had everything planned out. You do need to have some sort of structure to your day
Right.
to okay, the
Mm-hmm.
dog went out, and then wait, first of all, I'm taking the kids to kindergarten or school, then I'm walking the dog, then I had to go to work. I had to be there by 9. I got off at 12, and you go get the kids from the kindergarten. It looks like a day was pretty structured.
Mm-hmm.
But then, you have a difficult daughter who does not want to sleep, and you are at her bedroom for an hour and a half. By
Mm-hmm.
the time she went to bed and fell asleep, it was 9 o'clock, and then you had to maybe an hour
Mm-hmm.
that you have with your significant other
Right.
until you went to bed because you're exhausted as fuck.
Mm-hmm.
Like it's just like
Right.
it's uh a lot of women stay at home moms. We have a lot on our plates. I mean, I don't anymore. My daughters are grown and
Right. Right.
self-sufficient, and I don't have to do very much for them. But like there was, then you get a divorce and you're a single mother, and you are pretty much where you're like, why stay married when you're doing everything else by yourself anyway? Because for me,
Right.
like when we got divorced and I started and I lived on my own, nothing
Nothing
changed.
changed for you.
I was
Yeah.
like, I'm still doing everything.
Right.
Just at least, now
You
you
had
don't.
one less person's laundry to
Well,
do.
no, but at least for me, I was like, at least I don't have the bickering and fighting and like being unhappy. Like, for you,
Mm-hmm.
like I was, even though I was doing everything, I was like happy because, I was living
You
with
had peace.
exactly.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
I get it.
But for all those, I've even single mothers out there or mothers who have a lot on their plate,
Mm-hmm.
that I don't know. It was hard for me to ask for help.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm not even just talking about from your significant other. I'm talking about from friends.
Right.
Can you come and take them for an hour? Even if it's a half an hour, that you can have a half an hour of no
Right.
screaming, of somebody wanting to be on
Right.
your side and touching you or anything, or
Mom, 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 mom.
mommy, mommy, yeah, mom. Even my daughter's 16, and sometimes I'm like, dude, don't say that anymore. Like, please, because she's like, you're like, what the fuck? That name, yeah, like after a while, but like,
My son went through a phase. I can't remember how old he was, 7 or 8, and he'd be like, "Mom, Mom, mom, mom. When I finally would turn around and be like, what? And he'd be like, hi.
I love it.
You're like,
He knew what he was doing too, huh? Hi. Like, oh,
hi.
I'd be like,
He'd be like, hi.
but sometimes I do that to my daughter too. I'll be like, hey, hey, hey. I'll be like, ah, and she'll be like, what? And I'll be like, I love you. But it's not like I do that every day. But yeah, like,
I don't like
if
to
you
be.
have,
I don't like to be aggravated.
if you have somebody that could, you know, can come over for, even if they just come over and you're still in your own house and they help you, like,
right.
I also didn't have that when my like I didn't have. I know this sounds like I'm gonna be like a sob story or anything, like, so like it took me, mm, and my youngest daughter when she was born, and then I was at the gym. That's when I met my ex best friend, and that's when I actually first started having like a friend, friends. Before that, I didn't have like a person.
Right.
I mean, I had my ex's family. His mom got sick and passed away, and you know, like she wasn't there anymore. And you know, when you're in a country and you don't even have anybody to help you, anybody
Yep.
to call and just to vent, you know what I mean? Um, yeah, let alone somebody to come over and help me. Like that's what,
Right.
and that's why.
Even just to go like have a coffee or whatever when the kids are in kindergarten or
Yeah, well, I
just to
mean,
like
I had that then, of course, when my daughter was 3, she went to kindergarten. My oldest, and she was 3, and she went to kindergarten. And then I had that time I went to the gym, and, uh, but you know, I had what she went to 9, so you had 3 hours because she got out at 12, and then there was like 2 days a month where she could stay until like 3 or something like that, where she wanted to. But like, yeah, I had those 3 hours to myself. Because I mean, I was a stay-at-home mom. There was no need for me to keep her in the kindergarten until, well, even
right.
then it was like 3. By the time my youngest went into kindergarten, they actually had stayed open till like 5.
Okay.
And I was like, you know, back then that was
I know my
like,
son was in kindergarten. They stayed open until 2.
yeah, that's like,
And that was it.
yeah. And I was saying like my youngest then went to kindergarten, and then like I think the year after she was there, they were like, yeah, okay, we're gonna stay open till 5. So that was just like a major thing back then,
Right.
staying open that late.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
But and like keeping her there until that long, but you know, you're paying for it too.
Right.
So that's also like something that I didn't actually have. You know, I didn't have any family here to help me take care of my kids. That would have been nice. That would have been really nice. So, you know, like when you're going through it, and you're like, fuck, and I never, you know, sometimes, yeah, of course, you were complaining. I don't know if they're gonna complain, but sometimes there were days where you're just like, fuck, you know, like, am I gonna, is this ever gonna end? You know, that like in you. And now my oldest daughter's moved out. My daughter's 16, and now I was like, I wish I could have like enjoyed it more, you know. That's why it's one of those things, like my grandma told me that. She was like, hey, you know, like enjoy it because it goes by fast, and it does.
I know.
I mean, there's like, you know, also nothing more than being proud, you know, of my oldest daughter right now. Just so proud of her.
Yeah.
You know, but that's also like, I also miss her being a baby. I miss her being home. I miss, you know, and I have contact with her every day.
Right.
We talk every day. We send messages and we hang out, you know. So like it's like she's not just my daughter, she's also my friend.
Right.
And we hang out and we laugh and we have fun, you know, but they still need you. It's not like they don't need you, but that when they were babies, when they
Right.
were
It's
little,
different.
they needed you
Yeah.
in a different way, and that's gone.
Mm-hmm.
And like you know, like, you know, to be like baby fever, like I do not want any more babies. I don't want any more kids, you know. But I still like wish that I could have or and I doesn't, I don't know, not that I didn't enjoy it, but it just went by so fast, you know. It's gone. Like those, you know,
Yeah.
do you think about like when they say you only get 18 summers or with your kid if they
Right.
move out with 18. Sometimes they
Right.
don't, sometimes they do, but
Mhm.
my daughter did, but I
Right.
still get summers with her because we hang out this summer. But
Right.
like they're like my daughter's been staying at her boyfriend's right now, and
Mhm.
it's and at the beginning it was nice, I was like the house to myself, and now I'm just like I miss her being there.
Okay.
Even though she might be in her room or she's in the living room and I'm in the dining room, we're in separate rooms, but I know she's there and I know I can go bother her, or she, sometimes she'll just come in the living room and sit down on the couch, or like,
Mhm.
and it's just like, um yeah, like being alone.
Mhm.
That's like what they say, like empty nesters.
Right. I was gonna say that's like the starting of the empty nest syndrome.
And some
Yeah.
people like who have been married for so long and they have the kids, and when the kids leave, they like don't know what to do.
Right.
And you actually
Yeah, because the kids were like always the
yeah,
focus, and now
yeah.
the kids are gone, and so
And
they're sitting there looking at each other
like you actually have to
like
build a relationship with,
what do you
yeah,
want to do? What do you
yeah,
want to do?
yeah. But I feel like a lot of them also have, like, that's why it's really important, even when your kids are going to be priority, of course, but you also need to make the relationship with your partner,
Yeah.
because of that.
Yeah, of course,
The
because one day
kids are
the kids will
gone,
be
and then I
gone.
see a lot of couples be like, fuck, do I even, what do we do, what do I do, what do we, do you want to,
Mm-hmm.
what do you, like you say, what do you want to do, or
Right.
they have to like build
Or
a
they have to get
relationship
to know
again.
each other again.
Exactly. That's what, they have to get to know each other again, because, when you get together at 20 and the kids leave, the house with in your, I don't know, mid 50s, 60s, or guess
Mm-hmm.
it doesn't matter. I don't know. It depends on, when you have your kids or whatever.
Right.
Yeah, you're just kind of like a different person, so they have to get to know each other again. And some
Mm-hmm.
couples are just like, yeah, fuck you, I'm out, and they get divorced
Right.
because that what was holding that relationship together was the kids or something, you know what I mean?
Right. Yeah.
And
Yeah.
that's sad. So, like, even though you have kids and they, are going to be priority, especially when they're younger, you still need to make the relationship with your partner,
Yeah.
to nurture that,
Mm-hmm.
water it, take
Definitely.
care of that relationship too,
Yeah.
because
Definitely.
that can happen also really fast. That is just like, phew,
Mm-hmm.
and you,
That's gone.
what's in German, of course, so wir haben auseinander gelebt, like,
Uh, I
we
could
separate
translate it. I could
lives.
translate it literally. Yeah, separate lives basically, like
Just a,
two different lives under one roof. You
yeah,
know.
we just kind of like just kind of distanced,
Mm-hmm.
going down different paths,
Right.
and the other one not going with you, and
Mm-hmm.
then you end up divorced.
Yeah.
No, I don't, doesn't mean that, doesn't mean like for everybody.
Most of the time, though.
Sometimes
You
if you
know.
could get into like couples therapy and work it,
Right. Right.
before it gets to the point where they're, cheating on you because they didn't say anything anyway, and now you have to pass the point of no return, because
Mm-hmm.
for me, like, there's something I just couldn't,
Right.
get over.
Mm-hmm.
There's just like, some people, there's are people out there that be like, yeah, I could forgive cheating, and there's people out there who's like, hell no,
Right.
cheating.
We've already established that you cannot be the Cheeto.
I want to be the Dorito. That's funny. We did do that. The cheater and the
The cheater and
Cheeto.
the Cheeto.
Just
Jennifer will not be a Cheeto.
I will not be a Cheeto or a cheater. Also, the person gets cheated on. The person who cheats on somebody who's married, and yeah, the Cheeto, the cheater.
Yeah.
I want to be the Dorito.
There you
The
go.
Dorito.
Be
No.
just Doritos with
Yes.
some guacamole.
Damn, now I want Doritos.
And some guacamole?
No, I didn't. If it was gonna be guacamole, I just need Tostitos.
We don't have Tostitos here.
I know. Well, we got Doritos, but I don't need Doritos with guacamole.
No, we just need regular corn chips in.
Yeah.
Like the salty ones.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. So now we're talking about food
I
again.
know, like, so you
You know
guys
what?
get the idea that we're a
We're
little bit hungry
hungry.
here.
It's about time we end this so we can get some food, girl.
Exactly. There you go. Alrighty.
Yes.
So, I don't know if we stayed much on topic today, but you guys get the gist of what we wanted to say, I think. We are still obviously trying to heal, and still trying to break cycles, that we were brought up with, have been passed down from generation to generation, most likely. As
Yeah.
I know in my case it's been passed down
Yeah.
from generation to generation, just from stories my mom told me as a kid growing up.
Yeah.
um
Of course, my
yeah.
mom used to tell me she was scared of her father. That's why she said she had tried smoking marijuana one time. And she said she got so scared that but because of her father, she never did it again.
Okay.
Like, and then it goes to show me then, of course, you know, and I don't think my grandma was my grandpa, you know, and he was very, you know,
Yeah.
strict. So when you were, I think we said that the last episode, you know, if you're born in a racist family, you're gonna,
Right.
you know, who's gonna be racist when they get older,
Right.
because that's what you were
Because
taught.
that's what you know, of course.
You're taught anything different. So that's why, you know, this generational and breaking the cycle, it's for me understandable because they weren't taught anything different. But you know, like, it's just today where and this was years ago though, where, you know, that was you know, coming out that you don't need to be with negative reinforcement, just different, showing people there's different ways of parenting than what you were taught, or, you know, what your parents were, you know, how you were brought up, and what how your parents were brought up,
Right.
Not to say that people still don't do that today.
No, of course not.
But I think shit that I get seen on TikTok about families and like being adopted, and I can't watch those anymore because I just cry. Like, it's just amazing that how, why would you even become a parent? Because they just lock them up in what, I don't know. I just the things that I hear sometimes, I'm just like, it just, and then they get, you know, go for court, go to court and get charged, and then they get like what, 5 or 7 years or something like
If
that.
that.
And you're like, really?
Yeah.
For child abuse.
But,
like child neglect, child abuse.
right.
Yeah. Anyways, yeah.
Exactly. So we're gonna go eat something.
If you didn't know that before.
Exactly. And figure out what our next episode's gonna be about. So until next week, thanks again for your support. Thanks for following. Please drop any comments below, anything you feel like sharing with us. As usual, I will list our social media in the description box below, and we will actually be back in about 20 minutes, but we'll see you guys next week.
Bye.
Bye.